Yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'm just responding to the end boss. I've never seen it before. This is the first one. William Albrecht was on presenting a case for the Ascension of Jesus, and I found it a very dissatisfying 1 hour. As a way to spend time was to listen to Christian apologetics virtually for 1 hour, almost unopposed. All he really had were a few questions that were read out, and then one or two users phoned in with questions. And I felt that he wasn't really challenged at all on the case that he presented. Matt was really there as the host, and he said very little. And I didn't really quite see the point in it. Why is the line giving 1 hour to a Christian to present a case for the Ascension and not really providing proper opportunities for all the points to be challenged? There was so much that I could have said had I been there. And in fact, to be fair, some of the questions coming in, the main question is, what is there outside of the Bible to confirm the Ascension? And he goes to the early church fathers, Clement, etc., and various others who did not witness the resurrection, as far as we know. We're talking about 50, 60, 70 years after the crucifixion, and they were witnesses, as he said. And then he later on was sort of challenged on that, and he said, well, it didn't mean that they were actually witnesses of the resurrection or the Ascension. They were witnesses to the tradition, to the written tradition that was growing from this supposed event. Well, that's no witness at all. That there were people around who were writing about this and who believed in it is no confirmation. And that there were early church fathers who were reading about this and then interpreting it and then writing it and saying they believed it too is no confirmation that it actually happened. And so we're still left with this situation where the only evidence we've got for the Ascension, or indeed the resurrection, more or less is what we see in the Gospels. Okay, well, St. Paul talks about it, but if there was a tradition growing before the Gospels were written, then it's quite possible Paul would have known about those, and he's just simply regurgitating and interpreting what he has heard. It's all hearsay. I don't know how an Ascension could ever be properly confirmed to this kind of standard that I would require. It's such a fanciful concept, the bodily ascension of somebody who's been crucified and has risen from the dead, the bodily rising of Christ. I don't know what kind of evidence could ever really confirm that. And for somebody or anybody to say that it's reasonable to believe such a thing, there certainly was not the evidence presented for me to be convinced that it is reasonable to believe such a thing, let alone a resurrection. Of course, it's reasonable to believe that Jesus was crucified. I've got no problem with that at all. It's just not reasonable to believe that there was a real resurrection, bodily, spiritual, or otherwise. And Matt did raise one very good point. Where does the body go? So, no, but overall, let me just say I found it a very dissatisfying format, and I much prefer proper debate, so that in the back and forth, these things, these nitty-gritty aspects of the argument can actually be thrashed out and challenged. And when somebody makes a point, it can be immediately challenged. And the way that the format went today is that William was able to make point after point after point, each one of which could be easily debunked. And he went away feeling like he made a good case, and he just hadn't at all. Okay, well, that's all I've got to say. I hate this format. I absolutely loathe it. It was like, for me, it was like, metaphorically speaking, I don't know, it was like a couple of wasps buzzing around in my ear, and I had to tolerate that for, a whole hour. It was really bad. Thanks a lot for watching. Let me know if you've got any opinions. Put them in the comments below. Bye for now.